A feel-good Friday here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri. I'm Stephanie Bell. Randy will be back on Monday, and I am joined by the lovely Casey Burns. Good morning, Casey.
Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning, guys.
Who is also wearing red and reports that Scott Fawn is in a much better mood because the Cardinals are
second in the division.
Whoa.
And brought home a win last night.
Hey, that is a big turnaround.
It's look, we can't get our hopes up yet, but it's good.
All right. Well, this morning we are, there's a radiothon in the building. True North is here with some of our friends, and so we will be chatting with them a little bit later. We've also, we will be joined by Ashley McCarty of Missouri Farmers Care. Now, Hannah, you had an opportunity to meet Ashley, and I've seen her speak a couple of times, and she's really passionate about the agriculture community, about growing ag in Missouri, and I think just she's really an impressive person and doing some great work in Missouri. So she will join us at 7:10. We'll hear more about Missouri Farmers Care, how you can get involved, and the work that they are doing across the state. We are going to try to keep it positive on this Friday. Of course, we're wearing red. Hannah, are you actually wearing red this morning?
I knew I was going to catch grief for this.
I don't know that that's really red.
I couldn't find the shirt I was looking for, and so I had to settle at the last moment. It's like a...
close enough.
Yeah, it's like a burgundy-ish.
I don't know about that. Well, it's been, I'm not going to lie, friends, it's been a little bit of a slow news week. It seems like people are a little bit sleepy.
Which is good, I guess.
It is. I think right now, everyone's just counting down to 4th of July. Which, Casey, is it your favorite holiday?
4th of July is my favorite holiday. I'm already looking forward to it, planning for it. I learned this morning that in the city of Columbia, it is a misdemeanor to sell or possess.
Oh, yeah.
Fireworks? What? That's like un-American.
Same as Jefferson City, you can't shoot them.
You can't shoot them.
I think
you can have them.
I think in California you can only shoot them like within a 48-hour time window or something like that, but they're illegal outside of that.
I don't think JCPD enforces this very strongly, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's enforced in Columbia.
Well, it's the fireworks tents are popping up all over, and I know there's some restriction on when they can start selling. John, do you know that exact date? Oh, yesterday. So we are on.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I know a lot of folks, and we might have to get into this conversation, too, because I got an angry text from producer Hannah yesterday. It wasn't directed at me. But when is an acceptable time? When is an acceptable time to mow your lawn?
I was so mad.
Hannah has thoughts about this. And I think also, there is an acceptable time to be shooting off fireworks. And as someone, who has kids, and I know folks with dogs, but I'm with you, Casey. I love 4th of July, like light everything on fire, do all the bonfires, eat all the hot dogs, eat all the watermelon, dress in, I have so many red, white, and blue. Oh, look at my hat.
It's perfect
cute.
for it.
I got a new one. Parades, I'm here for it. So I know John Jefferson City's planning a big parade. It's in the afternoon this year, I think, like 4 p.m.
Yeah, that's what we understand. So,
and that'll be on the 4th. And so you can go straight basically from the parade down to watch the fireworks. I know Ashland's got a big parade at 9 a.m. Hannah, you got Centralia or California. You were telling me about one.
The California one, I believe, is at 10 a.m.
Awesome. So I am really looking forward to it. Well, there was some breaking news yesterday, and it's unusual for Missouri to go really viral. But there is a viral tweet out there because Andrew Bailey has announced that he is going to file suit against the state of New York, saying essentially that he's not going to stand by and let New York do this to Trump. And that he will take a suit directly against the state. And he said it'll be styled Missouri v. New York, which is basically, Missouri v. California. And he's saying in this way, because it's a state versus another state, it will go straight to the Supreme Court. So so as far as, when we're talking about timeliness and things getting there potentially before the election, I think this is being teed up to try to make a difference. Now, but he tweeted that out. I see Fox News covered. He's been doing a podcast called The Bailey Wire.
Which is such a good name for a podcast.
That.
It is. I think it might be attributed to a former Wake Up Mid-Missouri family member. But
never.
But
the Attorney General does it only wearing flip-flops.
There we go. I like it. But there's so they had some information that was shared on the podcast, but really I haven't seen the pleadings, and I don't know. I think you said I'm going to file suit, and I don't know that we know a whole lot more than that. But we do know he put it out, I'm going to do this, and it went mega viral.
Yeah,
Hannah.
mega viral with a capital V. It's been viewed on Twitter almost 2 million times. Like we said, Fox News picked it up. And, maybe next week we can try to get Andrew Bailey on the show to give us some of the deets. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of specifics, just like you are, Steph, but certainly getting national attention.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. And once we see the lawsuit drop, I think there's going to be a lot of interest, and we're going to be hearing a lot more about that. Now, this week we've been kind of hearing about, like, in the AG's race, like Will Scharf had maybe like an alcohol charge, when he was in college, and then
Nothing serious by any means.
No.
Yeah.
And then it was, I think it was similar to an MIP, but maybe it was like distributing or something. But and then Andrew Bailey had some conservation charges that amounted to like $30 or 40 bucks. So I think that for me, the import of that is, like, if that's where you're going, like, these are good people, right? Like, if they're digging up your conservation charges
from when you were a kid,
then maybe, like, then that's,
Like, if what they're going to use against you is that you were a college kid drinking beer, or that you maybe walked on someone's land while you were hunting that you weren't supposed to be on, like, okay, these are Republican primary voters. Like, let's see if that hurts you guys.
Also, I can't believe that someone took the time to dig into that. That's all they found, and they still published it.
We're a far cry from talking about, like, tying people up in their basement, right? Like, we're a long way
thank
from
God
that.
for that.
Yes.
You took the thought right out of what I was thinking about, because, we're sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop with all the potential allegations of former Grayton staffer against Will Scharf,
Right.
Well, look, I think we will see that. I think Will has tried to distance himself from Greitens and has done a good job. But if I'm running the opposition campaign, it's certainly something that I would point out quite frequently.
And things are heating up. I mean, Casey, you said the number of days. I don't have them memorized off the top of my head, but I know you do. How many days?
46 days until the August primary election.
Well, and
46
certainly
days.
now that we have no excuse absentee voting, you back that up even 2 weeks, and we're actually very close, right?
It's a weird election cycle. I think we've seen the gubernatorial race on TV and the attorney general's race on TV. I don't know of any other down ballot races that have made buys that are up on the airwaves yet. The prices for media are extremely inflated right now because there are so many races. It's going to be really interesting to see how these messages take hold over the last. It'll really be a 3-week primary cycle, I think.
Wow. And because people do 4th of July, and then right after 4th of July, they'll be hitting it really hard. Well, what we are also going to see on the airwaves, and what we here at Wake Up Mid-Missouri are looking forward to, is our debate watch party is now less than a week away. Hannah, we've got this audio. We learned something more about these debates yesterday, and maybe, like, the Biden administration has something in their back pocket. What did they say? I think RNC Research put something out about how we could expect some surprises. I know we were getting additional information about the rules yesterday. Apparently there was some type of coin flip, and if you won, you got to pick whether you got to pick where your podium was, or you got to pick who would go first on your closing statement. And so I think Biden won the coin flip, and they said, we want to pick the podium position. So that gives Trump the last word at the debate. And I'm like, finally, like, something that favors Trump at the debate. And I would never, I mean, if you get that, well, it was the Super Bowl that they had like a super bad coin flip decision, right? when John, wasn't that right? Where everyone was like, you picked the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I think
that was the opposing team.
Yeah, against the Chiefs. And they were like, we will receive. And everyone's like, what are you doing?
Why would you do that? Yeah.
Or maybe I have that, but anyways, like, don't pick that. I'm thinking, if I'm the Biden administration and do I care where the podium goes? I care if I get the last word. I want the last word.
He just wants the podium that has the least amount of stairs and steps to get to it.
I was going to say, guys, this debate is going to be, just tough to watch, I think. And no, if I'm Trump, of course I want the last word. I always want the last word, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But
Oh, we have a Scott Fawn on the
I'm
line.
going to say,
Yeah,
hanging
yeah,
with
I
Scott Vaughn and she gets the last word.
oh, I'm not saying I get it all the time, but man, I try.
Hannah, do you have that audio from the Biden administration? That what they were saying yesterday about the debate? They're basically saying there's a surprise, and they've taken him out to camp basically, and they're saying he's basically going to be there for a week, getting ready for the debate. But this is what they said yesterday. It was weird.
But I'm also told that we should expect some surprises as well, because this is such a critical performance for President Biden, not only on the content, but on his physical performance as well.
Is he going to like rappel into the debate? Like
He's going to jump on a trampoline to show
Cannonball.
us that he's.
Trying to do a backflip like Carl Edwards.
Yeah,
love that.
I was talking to one of our coworkers in the building yesterday. He was still kind of speculating that maybe the debate wasn't going to happen because someone was going to drop out or there was going to be some issue. And I was telling him, I'm like, I think Trump, I mean, he's so proud, right? Like if he was going to back out, he would have done it a long time ago. I don't think he'd let it get so close. And the Biden administration, I mean, they're trying so desperately to prove that Biden is mentally fit to do this. There's no way they're going to drop out. I think it's happening.
I think
we're going to see the State of the Union hyped up on whatever angry Grandpa Joe at the debate.
I think if I'm Team Biden, it's a liability to let him debate. But I don't know how you get through this cycle without doing at least one.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know
and-
how you don't have how you sleep at night, like for the next week. You're just like terrified.
Yeah, strategically, hopefully, Trump is being coached on just let Biden talk, because I think the more that Biden talks, the more he's going to spiral and we're going to see more gaffes. I think that the best thing that Trump can do is just let Biden be Biden.
I think you're right, Hannah. And I also think like not to be too mean, because Trump can say things that come off as mean. And I think it will look like elder abuse and like you're being mean to someone's grandpa. So hopefully he just like
Arizona, and I'm the chairman of the Arizona High School Republicans. I'm here to ensure, thank you, I'm here to ensure that Gen Z votes for President Trump and to show Joe Biden and the Democratic Party that they no longer have a hold on young people and minorities in this country.
That is straight out of Arizona. And what we're seeing, Casey, is the polling numbers out of some of these states are showing that Trump is drawing in folks, young people, people of color, women even, that he's never really drawn in before.
Well, Trump did join TikTok, so
They haven't banned him from that platform yet.
Not
They're about
yet,
to
not
ban
yet.
the whole thing.
Yeah, give it
no,
time.
shh, don't talk like that.
See, I'm a millennial. I can do without TikTok all day long. But I was reading an interesting tidbit this morning in like a daily email I get that Biden's approval ratings with women have dropped, or his advantage with women in the polls have dropped to single digits, which is the first time we've seen a Democratic president be in the single digits with women in over 20 years.
Not a good look for Biden.
But it's all economic based. So like when we're talking about young people and minorities voting Republican, like those are the people that are most impacted by inflation, by the economy. Like, you know, we've got will be 15-year-old next month at home who's talking about like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford gas if Biden's the president.
Right. And
I feel you, Millie.
I mean, talk about something that's colorblind and doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. Price of gas, price of groceries, it affects us all. And I think that's showing up in the polling numbers. Other people who are kind of jumping in behind Trump, I saw yesterday, we kind of heard this, but, you know, big tech and some of these folks in California had this big fundraiser. I guess the Winklevoss twins, or one of the Winklevoss twins, who were in, I think there was a dispute early on whether they really invented Facebook or whether Zuck invented Facebook, or like that's the lore. They said, we're donating $1 million in crypto to Trump. Now, these are people who previously were not in Trump's camp, you know, Californians and stuff. So it is getting really interesting. The other thing that I think, so I think you kind of have this juxtaposition of like these really high dollar folks who are coming in and saying, because of the economy, I'm all in for Trump. And then Trump, you also have Trump working to get the working class vote, because this thing about no taxing on tips, I think, is really taking off. And you're seeing people sign their receipts, you know, vote for Trump, no tax.
Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe.
It's all over the internet, and I think it's really popular. Apparently, Trump first launched this idea when he was out in Nevada talking. They have a lot of hospitality workers out there, and he said, look, you know, I'm going to help you keep more money in your pocket, and if I'm elected, we're not going to do taxes on tips. I suspect like the overall budgetary number on that is like nil, right? Like the amount of money that's coming in from that is very little.
I would guess. I mean, I don't know. You talk about states like Nevada, that might be a little higher when probably 50% of the workforce is in the hospitality industry of some sort. I'm not super well versed on this, but as someone who waited tables
If he misses me, I wonder what he's going to say. You send the text, you put your phone down, you feel your phone vibrate, your heart skips a beat, you pick up your phone, you think it's going to be him. It's Joe Biden asking you for $5. And it's like, we all know we have some of the shallowest pockets in that man's contact list. Like, why am I getting the text for $5? Do you know what I mean? Ping Nancy. Shoot Nancy a text. Nancy's never put anything on Klarna in her life. She's never even heard of Klarna. Meanwhile, like, it's just not appropriate. It's bad taste. Why am I feeling a ping, getting excited, thinking I'm about to get a text that says, like, I miss you, I pick it up, it's Jill Biden. Jake, I'm terrified. Why? And why is it my business? Can you leave me alone?
I saw this yesterday and I felt particularly triggered. We've talked about, there are some candidates that will like, I did get that voicemail on Father's Day. I was
going to say, there's been some candidates that are repeat offenders.
I have a lot of friends who work in Republican politics across the spectrum, and I am convinced that I don't donate money to federal candidates, right? It's not my wheelhouse. I am on every single text list right now. I mean, 4 or 5 a day I get.
Oh yeah,
so
me too.
I'm with this guy. Like, leave me alone. I'm not giving you money.
Knock on wood, I actually haven't gotten one yet. I don't know if I'm on some kind of list
the
or something.
government knows your student loan balance, Hannah, and they're like, you should put that $5 towards your student loans.
Well,
Yeah,
please look at mine too.
I get 'em.
I still got them, you know.
Yeah, John, I'm getting a ton of them. I'm not getting as many calls, but then also on the survey side, I know I've gotten some texts that are like, we value your opinion. Click here.
Yeah, robocalls are the worst. I can live with a text more so, but those robocalls, man.
I always seem to get the text when I'm in the car, and you're looking over your shoulder going, I hope I don't get pulled over, seeing if this is a text from the boss or something.
Blame it on the president if that happens.
There you go.
Sorry, Joe needed me.
I assume it's effective. Like, otherwise they wouldn't be paying to send the text out. And so I assume, somebody's clicking on that link and donating $5. I guess I heard this morning that Trump has essentially erased Biden's lead in the fundraising space since he got his conviction. And it's huge. His cash on hand number is amazing, apparently.
The man crashed WinRed, which is the biggest Republican fundraising portal, the day of the conviction. What did he raise? Like $30 million within 24 hours after, something crazy. I could totally be off on these numbers, but it was an extreme amount of money.
I've been debating with friends recently about how the sentencing is going to go, because I think, the judge saw the fundraising and the bump in the polls and doesn't want to help Trump anymore and is like, okay, we're just like not going to do anything here. But I have friends who are like, absolutely, he is going to sentence Trump like to, time and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't think so, because I think the response would be the same. It would just be a fundraising blowout.
I think it would be too. I mean, the way I am not an attorney, I'm not well versed, but it seems like the overall opinion of the way this trial went down is not favorable.
But you're in fundraising. Are you looking at any of your candidates and be like, well, if you could just like swing a conviction during the campaign, we could fundraise.
Start digging for those, $40 conservation charges.
Scowl at the camera.
We are a week out from the end of Q2. We're hitting a major fundraising deadline. You would not believe the levels of desperation throughout my phone here. Okay, there's a lot.
No, that's a good point, Casey. Let's talk about that a little bit. So there are quarterly fundraising deadlines. We're approaching one at the end of June. What we will see is technically the reports are due on July 15th, which is it a weekend or does it bump back? I'm not sure. Anyway, around July 15th, folks can file their reports, of course, early. A lot of times they don't. But that's going to be, not only will you see what kind of money is coming in, but you'll also be able to see how people have been spending their money. And obviously we get a little picture of that, and you hear about it a little bit. When people give over $5,000, they have to report within 48 hours. So you hear about those, so you kind of have an idea of the money, but these will give a more complete picture.
Yeah, it will be really interesting to see. Everyone, all of my clients are kind of amped up about this reporting period. It will be what a lot of major donors base their decisions off of. There are donors and groups that don't want to be more than 50% of someone's total cash on hand. So they're going to be scrutinizing these numbers pretty hard before they make their final contribution.
Because all of that's public, right? You can get online and look up how much someone's got in their campaign?
mec.mo.gov.
You can check that out. I mean, certainly there are PACs and other things. So sometimes, you kind of have to follow the trail of where the money might, come from. But yes, Hannah, like generally it's all public. And then as we approach the election, actually, MEC, which is the Missouri Ethics Commission, has deadlines that get a little bit closer together. And so you'll be seeing more frequent reporting as we approach the election that will keep folks up to date about what kind of money is coming in and out.
Yes, I think we have we'll do the quarterly report, then we'll do an 8-day before the primary report, and then there will be a 30-day after the primary report.
Yep. It will be an interesting couple of weeks there.
Well, and if anyone, has extra money sitting around that they want to donate to a good cause, my student loan fund is open.
I think technically when you close out your campaign, you can give it to like a charity. So Hannah, I don't think you qualify under the law officially as a charity. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Sign up as 501c3, Hannah. Google it.
I'll get right on that.
All right. Well, so I got in this conversation this last weekend when I was hanging out with my family, and even the young Gen Zers were fully on board. Like my parents and my older brother was like, yes, I've noticed this trend. And then I saw former Representative Sarah Walsh talking about it yesterday on Facebook. And I'm like, we have to address this elephant in the room. And that is the inertia of Domino's. And I posted about it. And Hannah, I think even you and I have talked about this, like things that have made a comeback. And I thought nothing, because Domino's was like dead for a while. And when you only ordered like Papa John's when I was in high school, college, like that was if you wanted to get the good pizza and like step up from, maybe one of the other cheaper brands, you were like, I'm going to order Papa John's.
Domino's was big when I was living in the dorm on Mizzou's campus my freshman year.
It's close to campus.
Yeah. And it's relatively cheap-ish.
It's so cheap. That's what I'm like, I don't know how these people are making any money. So we did just get a newer Domino's in Ashland, I will say. And, I've never met a pizza that I really didn't like. So we have tons of really delicious local pizza places, and I order from those too. But it's so weird because I feel like for a long time, and Domino's, changed their recipe, right? Mm-hmm. But it is just, I feel like it's super cheap. It's super good. And even my nephews were like, yeah, we used to never eat it, and now it's like one of my faves.
Yeah, if I'm ordering multiple pizzas from a chain place, Domino's is my go-to. But fun fact, I grew up so far out of town, so rural and so poor that I didn't have food delivery until I went to college.
Same.
Places would not deliver out to my house. So Domino's was a foreign concept.
So when I was in high school, my dad moved to Columbia, and that was the first time we had food delivery available to us, and my mind was blown. It's like the gates opened up and I was exposed to a whole new world. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then when I got to college and I had even more options because I was right in downtown, it was great.
It's my thing. I feel like I have privilege now when I pay to have food delivered.
See, and
Stephanie gives me a hard time anytime I do.
I'm still too cheap. I mean, obviously, living in Ashland, there's not a lot of food delivery, but I refuse to have pizza delivered. We pick it up. I'm not paying for.
Now, when you say we pick it up,
fair. Not usually.
So who's going to drive to get it?
Usually the husband. But
So
I ordered it. I did the hard work.
Easy for you to say, oh, yeah, it's no big deal. Just hop in the car. We go pick it up.
It is Ashland. It's not like it's going to take you 45 minutes to go get a pizza.
Right.
Exactly.
There are so many perks of living in a small town. I love it.
I love that more local places are starting to do delivery options, too. I know, but before Christmas when I had COVID and I was, quarantined at home and hating my life, the local coffee shop, randomly on a random Friday was like, we're doing delivery today for the first time. And that was great because I could get my coffee shop latte delivered to my front step while I was quarantined with the Rona.
That's really smart. Well, it's got me to thinking though, not just Domino's, but what other brands have come back from the dead. And the other one that is on my mind, and I know, we got a lot of women on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about clothes. So you can hate on the texter if you want. You can text us at 573-874-9390.
Y'all have been cranky this week.
But tell me,
just saying.
tell me what in your life has made a huge comeback that you thought was at one time canceled or dead. So again, 874-9390. The thing, Abercrombie, I mean, they got they got canceled for hiring practices and leadership and all sorts of stuff. There were documentaries about what a horrible company they were.
See, I didn't realize they actually got canceled. I just thought they kind of went out of style.
There's some you need to watch some documentaries on Netflix and read up. They were dunzo, and they had Casey, like kind of like you in pizza delivery. I was never an Abercrombie girl growing up. That was not in my price range. But that was kind of the cool thing. And everyone, you had a lot of money. You went to Abercrombie or Hollister. You wore their clothes. I never wore it, but if you see me now, I have so much of it. I'm buying it for my girls. I will say they could do better on their pricing. They're still
they're trendy.
You gotta wait for a sale, but like they are coming out with really cute clothes. They've got workwear, athletic wear, and they've got. I haven't seen their numbers yet, but they've got this year is going to be, I think, gangbusters.
Well, and I think they have altered their sizing quite significantly. Like that was
an
something
point too.
I have been roughly this size since like 8th grade. And so in high school, trying to buy things at Hollister and Abercrombie, which were a huge, that was like one Christmas gift, right? It was a luxury, but it was like, I'd be mortified that I'd have to go find an extra large T-shirt to squeeze into or something. And now I saw a friend who had this gorgeous dress at a bridal shower last weekend, and I texted her and I was like, where is this from? I love it. She said Abercrombie. So it's on my post-election day, when I have time planned to go to Abercrombie, try some stuff and make a shopping haul.
The brand that I'm thinking of, obviously, is Stanley.
Yes. Hey, because Randy brought in his OG Stanley, the green one that I remember my dad used to have. It was like clanging around in his work truck that has
the thermos,
the soup cup. And they were just kind of chilling for a while, and they weren't. I don't think they were ever canceled, but they certainly weren't cool.
Not as relevant for sure. Sonia on the texter 874-9390. She's saying curlers are back.
Oh, yeah. Velcro rollers. That's right.
Well, there's those, and also the hot rollers I've seen are back too.
How about vinyl records?
Oh, that's a good one.
I have a record player. I love records. I have hot rollers. I have heatless rollers. You
are all into the trends, Casey. I like it. The Today Show is reporting that people are swiping things from restaurants, just like all sorts of, not food.
Yeah, and I mean, it stems from like a lady posted a viral TikTok calling her husband out for what he does when they go out to eat or they go to the bar, and it's stealing like dishes or cups or silverware, things like that.
I remember like in college, like wanting to have like the pint glasses. I remember boys.
Oh man, that's what I was getting ready to say. Being a bartender, man, we couldn't keep logoed pint glasses in stock because they'd vanish.
If you've noticed, like most people don't have logoed pint glasses anymore, and I think there's probably a reason for that.
Exactly.
I'm sure it got too expensive.
Yeah,
But I mean, have you not ever been at a really nice restaurant and had that beautiful, massive wine glass, and you're just like, oh, I want to take this home.
And
I
then-
mean, I don't do it because they're like $40 glasses.
But
and
then
where would
you
you
have,
put it?
well,
But-
also you have one. Like you don't have a set.
well, that's
like
true.
you look like a pawn shop or something in your cabinet. I mean, what? Like, so then
Yeah,
you
I
have to
saw
go back
one of
and get
the-
a second
Then
one.
you got to steal a second one. Yeah.
I saw one of the store owners interviewed for this story, and they said they had people stealing the flaming hot cast iron skillets that the food had come out in, and people would take those, and somebody slip it in their purse.
Where would you put cast iron skillets? Are huge and heavy.
and
How?
it's dirty
And
Like,
dirty.
you
So
have it in your bag.
I have never done this. I do not condone this, but
You're asking
But-
for a friend.
No,
We got you.
I watched a family member just last weekend do this. I berated this family member, but this family member is 21 and didn't care. So, I mean, I've seen it happen. Like I said, I don't condone it. I think that sometimes it happens on accident. I'd say most of the time, probably not. But I do know some people who are like, oh, shoot, like I put this in my to-go box and yeah, like accidentally threw in the fork or accidentally included the cup that my ranch dressing came in, things like that.
Yeah, the ramekin.
Sometimes talk to people who work in pizza places. The thing they lose the most are the shakers full of the red pepper and the Parmesan.
Interesting.
I've seen videos where folks will actually like a dish at a restaurant and then try to buy it. And a lot of times the restaurant that this video is at was a big chain restaurant. And so they actually knew exactly how much it cost. And they let them buy like a cheese grater, I think it was.
Well, Olive Garden sells those like rotating cheese graters or whatever, which people
Yeah.
apparently just learned. I think it's really.
I had no clue.
Don't steal stuff from restaurants. Shame on you. Don't do it. Public service announcement. No, but do you recall there was an article we covered, I think it's been several months ago, but in the Biden administration, they actually had to issue a memo to the press gaggle to say, stop stealing the stuff off of Air Force One. Because when you fly with the president, they were stealing like pillowcases, like the linens, the nice blankets and stuff. And so apparently McCarty speak a couple times in the last several months, and I am always super impressed. And every time I see her, I'm like, we have to get her on the radio because she's doing such good work, has such good data, and is connecting folks. And I think we've got a lot of folks who will be interested in her work. So Ashley, welcome to the show.
Good morning. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time.
Awesome. Well, tell us first a little bit. So you're the executive director of Missouri Farmers Care. Tell us a little bit about the history of the organization and the mission of the organization.
Absolutely. We were formed in 2014 when we saw forces outside Missouri wanting to come in and dictate agricultural practices in the state. We knew that Missourians knew best and that farmers and ranchers can be trusted. And so all of agriculture came together. It is the breadth and depth of Missouri agriculture. There are well over 45 member organizations, and they really just want to share the truth about modern agriculture and agriculture's connection to food security, economy, social well-being, and we just want to stand together for those men and women that farm and ranch and are in agribusiness across the state and undergird our communities. And so since 2014, we have been hard at work on a wide variety of initiatives to make sure we're doing a better job sharing the importance of agriculture in the state of Missouri, making a big impact for ag, and generally just helping advance Missouri agriculture. So since that time, we have undertaken several different programs to make sure that we're just doing the best job we can, and not only to produce food, fuel, and do it ever increasingly more sustainable ways, but also just continue to drive the economy of our state.
I think that work is so important. And I think as we talk about things like food security and, I think we've all heard about the number, how tough, how much challenge there is for farmers in Missouri. We hear about droughts and we hear about the dwindling number of farms, and a lot of older farmers are retiring. And it's become somewhat rare for someone to be, quote unquote, a first generation farmer. Having recently moved to Ashland and seeing the impact of programs like FFA, I know Hannah was really involved in FFA. I think it's kind of getting a resurgence, at least in my mind. But, can you talk about what you're doing to address some of those challenges?
Absolutely. Let's start with food insecurity. So we do such a good job, right? We're in the breadbasket of America and a nation with unparalleled agricultural productivity. And we do it in a way that is managing our land, our resources, and our animals for the long term. Yet, the really staggering reality is 1 in 7 Missouri children wake up in the morning and don't know where their next meal will come from. I think any of us who have spent any time in schools around youth know that they're not going to be thriving. They're not going to go be able to learn the most they can, have a vision and dreams for the future, and succeed with empty bellies and that sort of insecurity in their life. And so our Drive to Feed Kids, which we launched in 2017, was meant to bridge that gap between farm fields and dinner tables. And we've come together harnessing the power and the energy of Missouri 4-H, Missouri FFA, the Missouri State Fair, which is the showcase of agriculture, and raised resources for 12.3 million meals. So that's a big impact. It's not huge and it's not solving the issue. We are really trying to make brighter days for Missourians. And we are resourcing our food banks that are already making the difference in those children's lives to put food in schools. So on the weekends, they don't go home and not know where their next meal comes from until the next Monday, the next time they come to school. So we have really been so inspired. One of the best days of my professional year is a day at the Missouri State Fair that we call the FFA Food Insecurity Service Day. This year, as in all the past years, over 900 FFA members will come together and they will pack over 175,000 meals in several hours. You can imagine the energy in a room of 900 FFA members. And we just it's not only about the meals, the 175,000 meals we'll pack. It's about planting seeds so that they realize making a difference and an impact in their community, being a change maker, is as simple as coming and showing up and rolling up their sleeves for the day. It also opens their eyes to the kids that they know, that they sit with in class, that they see hunger in a different way after serving. Those meals go back to their communities all across the state. And it has been one of the most fulfilling things that we do year in and year out.
Talk to us about some of the non-traditional things that we're seeing of farmers and ranchers doing now. I've got a neighbor who raises meat goats, takes them down to the sale barn in South Missouri. Your website talks about pecan farmers and catfish farmers and all. It's kind of changing the business, isn't it?
It sure is. There's a lot of innovation in agriculture and technology that we harness, and have a concerted effort underway right now to grow all of those facets of agriculture. We're really good at traditional corn and soybeans and pork and cattle, and we're really working to see not only processing for those, but new opportunities that are growing. So you're exactly right. You've hit on a lot of them. It is specialty crop production, processing, and often direct marketing. That internet opens up a whole wide world of consumers that just a generation ago weren't nearly as accessible to pecan growers in Brunswick or aquaculture producers. We really would love to see aquaculture grow on the farm in Missouri. It is a huge economic engine. In addition to, traditional dairy is a tough business. There's a lot of economic pressures. There's a lot of labor challenges. But marketing that cheese and ice cream direct to consumers opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Missouri's made strategic investments in meat processing, which, I'm on a Century family farm up in northeast Missouri near Kirksville. We market our beef to consumers, and those investments in meat processing have sure opened the door for us to be able to provide more product in a more timely manner to consumers. And it is exciting to see people's new ideas taking root and making it across the finish line. The state's made investments the last few years to try to support those sort of innovative entrepreneurial ideas.
Well, and Ashley, I love to hear that you guys are working with local FFA chapters, those local 4-H chapters, and, doing lots of things to sort of nurture that ag education in our youth, because, you and I both know the average age of the farmer is getting older and older. I just looked it up, and it's 58 years old is the average age of a farmer according to the 2022 census. It's getting older and older all the time. And obviously that's a little scary because you look at sustainability, and if that number keeps growing, no pun intended, we're going to be in trouble in a few decades. So I love to hear that you guys are getting involved with the youth in agriculture. What are you hearing from this next generation of, kids that are wanting to potentially pursue careers in the ag industry? Are you hearing things that give you hope, like from these kids, or what's going on there?
That is a great question, and one where we spend a whole lot of time with youth. So right this summer, for instance, we have 21 ag education interns that are teaching 10 weeks of hands-on agricultural literacy, or 10 lessons in the summer of hands-on agricultural activities to youth across the state. 4,000 kids in Columbia Public School summer school alone. So we're hearing from collegiate level during the school year. Those lessons are taught by high school level, and then we get to see the energy, enthusiasm, and curiosity of those third grade students as we introduce many of them to agriculture as a concept for the first time through Ag Education on the Move. And I will assure you that I just spent time in Columbia Public Schools last week, and their curiosity was so encouraging. So on the elementary level alone, there were several that walked out, and I'm sure probably hadn't thought about soybean farming before we were there that day, and spent an hour with them sharing the cool things that come from a soybean. And a couple kids remarked as we walked out the door that day, I want to be a soybean farmer when I grow up, which is exciting. Whether that dream comes to fruition or not, we're so excited that they see the promise and potential in agriculture, the technology and innovation, that we bust some of those myths of a stereotypical farmer that may be portrayed at times. So they're encouraging. And then the high school students that we get to interact with and the college students have big dreams and are willing to take on the challenges. It's no easy thing to get started in agriculture. Sometimes it's no easy thing to continue in agriculture, but it is really encouraging to see the bright leaders we have coming up. This year, I judged the Ag Issues Contest at the Missouri FFA Convention.
My favorite. I did that when I was in high school.
It is. You could put them on this show, and they would have everybody on the edge of their seats, right? They were talking about hard land use issues. This was a solar farm in Montgomery County, the team that won. And the passion, knowledge, enthusiasm, and persuasiveness of that group of students would convince anybody that our future is actually going to be in the hands of good leaders.
Well, and I love, too, that earlier you touched on, the ag industry is becoming more and more diverse all the time. So when you think about pursuing a career in the industry, it's no longer just, your only two options are, well, do I want to raise crops or do I want to raise livestock? As technology gets more intertwined into the industry, it opens up a ton of different career opportunities. So I love to see that you guys are introducing kids to the lovely world of ag and, showing them that you don't have to just pick one of those two routes.
Absolutely. Missouri had such a strategic advantage from the animal health corridor that we have a strength in the western side of the state to the biotech and plant sciences that happens in St. Louis and on the eastern side of the state. This $93.7 billion economic engine is thriving, and you are exactly right. It is so, I think, FFA used to be cows, sows, and plows, right? And they say we're so much more than that today. You've hit the nail on the head. But I think a lot of people who are probably a lot of students going through school in college right now are going to end up in agriculture that really never dreamed. From marketing to science to biochemistry, there's a lot of potential.
So tell us a little bit more. We've only got probably about a minute here, but, say we've got parents and kids out there listening and they want to get more involved. Where can they learn more about Mo Farmers Care, and can they participate in your event at the State Fair?
Yes. So there are a lot of opportunities at the State Fair to get involved. We have a booth 1 in the Agriculture Building. Great place to stop by and get information. 2, the Ag Education on the Move program can be brought to any school in this state. So there's an opportunity for high school students to teach and be mentored by our college students, and elementary classrooms to be open. All the information on that can be found at mofarmerscare.com, and our contact info is out there. We love to work with
quite there. I want to run something. Stephanie, I know you go to a lot of concerts.
I do.
And
My thing.
you take a lot of photos and videos at said concerts.
Oh, rude.
What is it? Is it rude if it's a fact?
It is a fact.
Okay. So this isn't quite in the same vein, but there's a viral story that kind of poses the argument of should you have your phone out at these big live events. So this one specifically is talking about a wedding. This is a short soundbite of a bride walking down the aisle. See if you can make out what she's saying.
Put your phones away.
Put your phones away. So she's walking down the aisle. She's arm in arm with her dad, and she's looking side to side coming down the aisle. And everyone's got their phones out, which, as someone who recently planned a wedding, you pay a lot of money for a photographer and for a videographer, and it's a double-edged sword. You want people to put their phones away because you don't want that in your professional photos or your professional video, right, of just 50 smartphones in the air blocking shots. But also, you paid a lot of money, and you would just rather have the professional shots, and you can share with your family members.
And there's people with their flashes going off on their
Yes.
phones that ruins your photographer's shot.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the phones are ugly in wedding photos, and I think if I did it now, I would ask people to at least while you're in the ceremony, to put them down.
Yeah, so we had our officiant make an announcement, at the very beginning of the ceremony, just asking everyone to put their phones away. Truth be told, I couldn't tell you if everyone listened because I had tunnel vision when I came down the aisle, and it was scary, and everyone was looking at me. I was just
Same.
looking at my now husband. But have you ever been at a concert and you're behind someone, or maybe you are this person, and they've got their phone in the air the whole time, filming the concert instead of being in the moment?
Who was that person who it was on from stage, and she got all cranky and was like, "Put your phones away."
Miranda Lambert.
Was it Miranda Lambert?
Yeah.
And I was at a concert months before that where and it was my favorite song, and she was like, "Don't get your phone out," and I was like, "Are you kidding me? I paid money to come here. I should be able to do whatever I want. Quit telling me what to do with my life." I
Who
was
was the
super
country
mad.
star who got clobbered by the phone that got thrown at her?
That's true. I think it's different when it's your wedding because, I didn't buy a ticket to your wedding and you're the bride. It's your day. You can pick. But if I paid money to go to your concert, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. I guess that's a good point. Or even if you're just a concert goer, not necessarily being told by the performer to put your phone away. If people around you are cranky that you're filming.
I do think much like airplanes, people lose their manners at concerts, and there should be rules. You know that our friends over at KCMQ are doing a radiothon for True North of Columbia today. You have heard about True North likely when we've got Dr. Ashley Immel with us. She's been the president for some time. They do some really good work. And Shags from KCMQ will be joining us at 8:10 to tell us a little bit about how that radiothon got started and more about True North. So I hope you will stick with us for that. Also, we're doing winners and losers at 8:35. So go ahead and start texting your nominations in now. I think Bruce is calling me a loser on the text line, not in so many words, but he said it's rude to stand at concert with seats. You know, if people paid for seats and you're standing in front, then it's rude. I disagree, Bruce. If you went to a concert, you're trying to have fun, and you should be allowed to dance and stand up.
See, this is all, like, it's always a thing with high school football, especially, or basketball. Yeah. Like, if you sit behind the student section, especially in high school, like, the student section in a lot of schools, they stand the whole time. Like, it's a thing. And so in Centralia, I know they started having to put up signs everywhere saying, this is the student section. Students will be standing. So basically, you can't gripe if you sit behind this line.
Yeah, and I think most people are respectful that, like, if the people behind you maybe are elderly or something, or there's no room to move around, then, like, certainly they make accommodations. But I think for the most part, you should be allowed to have a little bit of fun at concerts.
Well, it was when the Centralia girls basketball team was either playing to be in the Final Four, I believe it was, in the state basketball tournament, and the Centralia gym was completely packed full of people to watch this game. The only seats that my dad and I could find were behind the student section, so we knew we were going to have to stand. But we ended up standing right next to John Martin.
Oh, that's fun.
He got there kind of late, and I was like, we can squeeze over here.
I love it.
Yeah, look, if you're at the orchestra, then stay seated the whole time, right? But if you're at a live music show that is high energy, if you're at a competitive sporting event that's high energy, like, I'm not going to have a lot of sympathy if you're mad that I'm standing.
Andy's on our team. He said, it ain't the symphony, bro.
Amen, Andy.
I think it just kind of depends on the vibe, right?
That's right.
I think that's fine. Well, I saw one of my favorite comedians yesterday on socials, and he was doing a reaction. Apparently, let's quote celebrities, quote unquote, decided to get together. And do you remember he references a video, which I think is important, the Imagine video? Remember, it was like during COVID, and they did like that weird, celebrities got on and they sang Imagine, and it was like real creepy. Hannah's like, I don't know what you're talking
I must have completely blocked that time frame.
When celebrities just think like there is nothing better than seeing them on,
and like the smell of their own farts.
Yes,
yeah.
It was very much like that. And now they've all come together for the same reason, or not all of them, but several of them have come together to tell us about the election. And so what you'll hear is their video playing, and then you'll hear what John Christ has to say about the celebrity video.
Prove that to you is by having lots of famous people.
Lots of famous people.
Lots and lots of famous people.
Just a ton of famous people.
But you only get this many famous people together if the issue's
one that truly matters to all of us.
A disease or
ecological crisis or
a racist, abusive coward who could permanently damage the fabric of our society.
Do the math.
Do we really want to give nuclear weapons to a man whose signature move is firing?
Firing things?
As if we are so dumb and so ignorant and so uninformed that it's going to take Ted's girlfriend from How I Met Your Mother to tell me. I mean, dude, come on, dude. Be serious.
Yeah.
It falls off very quickly.
In terms of star power?
Yes. I don't know who the whole back of this is.
I just can't get enough of John Christ. I think he's so funny, and he's spot on. Like, I don't think any, like, celebrities, they think we really care. And other than like Justin Timberlake getting arrested this week, I mean, I kind of care about that. But he even he got roasted. Have you seen the transcript?
I saw a conspiracy theory about that.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Because apparently what happened was he gets arrested, and the cop comes in, and they say, he's like, oh, this is going to be so bad for the tour. And the cop says, what tour?
What tour?
Yeah, the kid didn't know who it was.
And he goes, the world tour. And he still's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's so embarrassing.
See, the conspiracy theory that I saw was Justin Timberlake, when he announced this world tour, got roasted for it because people, just like this cop, were like, who are you? Like, why are you doing a world tour when you're kind of a has-been a little bit at this point?
Oh my gosh. So I have a friend who saw him in Tampa like last weekend, and I have heard it is the most electric, phenomenal show. She put it number 2 in her entire concert list.
See,
and she keeps like a roster.
But the conspiracy was that Justin didn't want to do the tour anymore because he was like getting made fun of so much, and so he staged this.
See, I would have thought it. Remember, we saw that shirt that said, I just said member. Sorry about that. Remember, we saw.
Now, next up, you're going to be saying Missouri.
Ashland coming out for you. Okay. So we saw that T-shirt, and it said it's white boy felon summer, and it has like Morgan Wallen, Donald Trump, Scotty Scheffler, like Zach Bryan. Yeah, they've all been. And so I was thinking maybe the world tour wasn't doing so well, and so Justin's like, it's worked for everybody else. Let's try to get arrested for some free press.
And do a country version of Bye 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 or something.
I saw a shirt that says "All my favorite men get arrested," and it's Trump, Zach Bryan, and Morgan Wallen.
I love that. All right. Well, I think in the grand scheme of things, though, celebrities coming together and saying like Donald Trump is a danger. That video is ridiculous. And is anyone looking at that and paying attention? And I think it goes back to kind of our conversation of, what do we think about endorsements and all of these things coming down? Does it matter? And I think in Missouri, coming out of Celebrityville, people are like, give me a break. No way. And like the women of The View, when they said Donald Trump might cancel our show if he gets elected, everyone's like, where do I sign up to donate to Donald Trump? So I think in some ways that stuff backfires too.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I think the average voter in Missouri could not care less what Hollywood elites have to say about who they should vote for office. I actually think, like, if I'm Donald Trump, this is a help for me. I want an in-kind I want to report an in-kind contribution for that ad because it's only going to be more helpful to him anywhere that was going to vote for him anyway.
That's a fair point. I think it'll be, but we're just going to be seeing more of this, like, everything's a catastrophe. This is the most important election cycle of your lifetime as we head into this next month. I think particularly, as you talked about before, that it's such a shortened season.
Well, and, let's not forget, too, they're denouncing Trump. And so that, basically means they're promoting Biden.
Right.
And I just don't see how you're able to do that with a straight face. I really don't.
Look, we are guilty. Me particularly, people who work in politics are very guilty of saying this is the most important election cycle of our lives. Every single cycle. So, we've lost some impact there.
Okay, turning to something else real quickly, is Inside Out 2 the most important movie of the summer? Hannah. We have an update. Hannah saw the movie, and I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I'm hoping I can get there this weekend, but did you love it?
I did enjoy it. So I watched the first one on Disney Plus the night before.
Do I need to do that?
I think you should, especially since you mentioned you haven't seen the first one.
Or it's been a long time. I don't really recall it.
I think you'll still get the gist, but it is very much a sequel and it follows the same storyline. I forgot that it is summertime and kids aren't in school. And so my shtick of being able to go to the movies in the afternoon and be the only one in the theater.
Did you go by yourself?
Yeah.
This is such a... This is a phenomenon that I don't understand about you, Hannah.
It was ruined because I think the theater was probably pretty close to being sold out.
Really?
Because
in the middle of the afternoon?
Yeah, it was like a 12:40 showing. Yep. People were coming in, 5 minutes before the movie started and having to do the awkward scan where you stand in the... aisles on the side, just looking for seats that are together so you can sit with your kids. I had strangers on either side of me, which if you know me is my worst nightmare. Okay, I go to a movie by myself to chill out, and I had a kid on one side of me and a mom who was very concerned about her kids in the row in front of us next to me.
That makes me anxious.
Yeah, that's what I get for going to a kids movie in the first place. I acknowledge this.
in the dead of summer.
Yeah, the last time I went to a kids movie in the theater, I think I got hit in the head with a golf stopper. Like the kids were like throwing candy across the theater.
I also
like, never
pulled
doing this
into the
again.
parking lot, and this is when I should just gone home. There were 3 school buses.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Oh, no.
3 school buses, but the buses were empty. And I'm like, okay, so they're in a movie now, so they'll be coming out.
They were all at Inside Out.
Well, I didn't see a school bus's worth of kids, so they were in the movie before, I think. But anyway,
but
the movie was great.
And it's making insane amounts of money. I mean, that's what we've been hearing nationally, but you're saying here locally, it backs it up.
Right. So the whole premise of the Inside Out movies, it focuses on the different emotions that you have, and each emotion is a little character that lives inside her name's Riley, that lives inside Riley's head.
Yeah.
And the second one introduces new characters as Riley gets older, and one of them is anxiety.
No more just anger, fear, and what was the other one?
Joy?
Yeah, there's joy, fear. Some of the new characters are anxiety, envy, and embarrassment. And so it just kind of shows that aspect of everything that goes on in your head, especially as you're, starting high school is what Riley's doing. And having to battle wanting to fit in with a new crowd of girls, but also wanting to hang out with her old friends, and kind of that inner battle that happens when you start to get older.
That's going to give me a lot of anxiety about my current parenting young teens, I think.
But just as someone who, I've talked about this on the show before, I struggle quite a bit with anxiety, and that was the reason I wanted to go see this movie. I knew it was going to be a thing. I feel like
is the thread of her being the hockey lover in this second one, because that was a big part of the first one.
Yeah, so it's got a little bit of that sports thing in there, but the anxiety character kind of, at one point, slight spoiler, I guess.
Don't spoil it.
Well, anxiety kind of overthrows everything, and they have to fight to get anxiety out of the control room. So I could relate as a 24-year-old. I think that parents that take their kids to see this movie will get a lot out of it as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to start those conversations about, and at that age, I feel like you talk a lot about the people feel, the kids feel emotions very big.
Yes.
Emotions are very big, and I think that's a way to kind of humanize it and have a conversation in a way that makes sense for the kids. So
there's one joke about puberty in there, and that's kind of what sets off the craziness. So it's fun.
Yeah.
I just empathize with all the summertime moms trying to find a place that's indoors and air conditioned and will keep their kids contained for 2 hours.
The movie theater is the perfect spot. We've got some good spots here, like bowling, those kind of places in the summertime too, but it is hot out there. It's going to be a hot weekend too, and I think the forecast is looking quite warm. So okay, Hannah, you've convinced me. I'm going to watch the one. Maybe I'll watch it tonight, and then I'm going to see number 2 in the theaters, and I will report back. John, what do you got coming up for us next?
Remember Blinky the Fish? Diehard Simpson fans, hearkening back to the show in 1990 when Mr. Burns, in a moment of reckoning, confronted with the possibility that his nuclear power plant wreaked havoc on the environment and created Blinky, the three-eyed fish. Now we have a three-eyed cod caught off the coast of Greenland. So Springfield was in Greenland. You know, they've never said where Springfield was, but as Bart said, a radioactive fish comes already cooked. And same guy who said, don't have a cow man and eat my shorts. And now you know the rest of that story.
That's hilarious. Well, I think it isn't Springfield technically as a town name, isn't it? Like one of the most popular. There's like a Springfield in every state, isn't there?
Yeah, you know, all the speculation. Well, it's Missouri. Well, it's Illinois. Well, it's 8 other states.
Well, there's lots of Centralias.
Really?
Also, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm assuming just because it's got the word central in it, but there's at least one in Illinois and Pennsylvania. Centralia, Pennsylvania has had an underground mine fire burning for like decades.
There's
Fun
a
fact.
Jefferson City, Tennessee that is referenced in a Morgan Wallen song,
Yes,
but I
there
actually
is.
knew about it before then, but yes.
Yeah, I actually saw a headline. Morgan Wallen did something pretty cool for Jefferson
once.
City, Tennessee, and it didn't say Tennessee in the title. Got excited for a half second before I realized it wasn't Missouri. It's
So
okay.
sad. Well, we are less than a week away from our big debate watch party. Let me reach over here. I've got some of our prizes. Now we've got some books too, right, Hannah?
Yeah, from Clay Travis.
His latest book that we will have as prizes. We also, if you're watching the video feed, you can see this. I'm backwards here. You can see this MAGA hat. It is an OG from CPAC, the Trump store. It's
Made in the U.S. of A.
Yeah, from the actual Trump store. So I've got this. I've also got this cute little Trump bust if you want to put it on your bookshelf.
It's a small bust, but we love it.
It's very cute. And so you can take it to your office, put it on your desk. I kind of wish it had just neon orange hair. You could paint it.
Do you wish it was bigger?
No.
Man, we're hearkening back to the testimony from the Trump trial. It sounds like almost.
It's going to be huge.
Apologies. All right, so that is next Thursday. We are going to, there's tons of candidates. We are getting even more requests now of folks that are basically going to have booths. They're just going to have a stand and they'll be around. They'll have their literature. They'll have some people from their team.
Popcorn.
There will be unlimited popcorn. We are going to have some contests. You're going to be able to watch the debate on the big screen. And we've got, I think we can safely say at this point, hundreds of people that are expected to be in attendance. Again, we can't fit you all. And so we need you to go ahead and This morning, we know Fox is reporting that 5 illegal immigrants were charged with kidnapping an Indiana teen. They were picked up here in Missouri. So watching that, as well as the lawsuit that the Attorney General has said he is going to file against the state of New York. That is making headlines this morning. We haven't yet seen the lawsuit, but Fox has a story on that. And of course, we'll be following that as we learn more. But it's an important day here at Zimmer. We've got a radiothon going on in the building. And most of you, I know about True North of Columbia. And we regularly have guest co-host Dr. Ashley Immel with us. She has been serving as the president of that organization for some time. And so we love when she gives us an update. But this morning, we are joined by our friend Shags from KCMQ.
I don't know if friend is the right
Frenemy.
word.
Hannah and Shags have this ongoing beef.
My arch nemesis, producer Hannah.
I love it. You guys are always beefing on social media, and
we have a good time.
I love seeing that. Well, Shags, it's a really interesting story how you got in, how you first started the radiothon, how you got personally involved and committed to the cause. So tell us about. Is this the third year, second year?
Yeah, our third year. And thanks for having me on here. So the origin story was when the fiance and I bought our first home together. We had moved in, and about 2 weeks in, I was doing some yard work, and my neighbor came over and said, "Do you know what happened in your house?" And
you don't really want to hear that.
No, that's not something you want to hear. And I didn't. So he told me the story about how the previous owner, her name was BJ Robinson, was tragically murdered by an ex-boyfriend. There was a murder-suicide that happened in my home. And I wanted to do something to just remember her by. And so I came to mid-Missouri. I went on the airwaves and was vulnerable and just I don't know what to do, but I want to do something. And that's when our audience reached out through phone and text and email and have you heard about True North? And I hadn't. And I reached out to them, and I got a tour of the place and saw all the programs they have and their facilities. And I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to do a radiothon for True North. And it took about a year. And I remember thinking oh man, True North really needs me, and I'm going to do all these great things for True North. And then I was interviewing the survivors and talking to their counselors to make sure I wasn't asking any triggering questions or anything like that. And it started bringing up a lot of old memories of a relationship I had in the past and things that I had buried deep down, because I'm a pretty big dude. I'm 6'8", almost 300 pounds. And I thought I was in a toxic relationship. One of my past relationships. Well, no, it was a domestic violence situation. She used to beat the tar out of me. And there was even one time in the middle of the night, I had gotten up and hit all the big steak knives because I didn't want to get stabbed with a big knife. I figured if she stuck me with a small one, I'd be able to wake up and get out and survive. And so I started to relate. And long story short, I needed True North as much as True North needed me in this situation, because I was in a domestic violence situation. It wasn't toxic. It was very emotionally and physically abusive. And that's what makes this so powerful, is not only are we going to raise money for this organization that needs it, because they do great work here. And statistically, we all know someone who's gone through it or is going through it. And we're trying to have a difficult conversation about things that kind of make us feel icky, like nobody wants to talk about domestic or sexual violence, even though it's happening. And then bringing awareness to the organization. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, knowing that there's a place that will help, and we're going to do our best to raise some money today.
Well, we are wishing you well. How can people donate if they wish to donate?
Thank you. Yeah, you can call the phone bank at 573-815-7516. That's 573-815-7516. Or we have all the details up on our website, kcmq.com, which I'm sure Hannah loves hearing me say on her.
I have, earlier this morning, I shared the link with all that information on the Wake Up in Missouri Facebook page. So,
oh, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm a nice person sometimes.
Shags, for those of us who were around Columbia 50 or so years ago.
Yes.
We remember this. This is the same group that started out as one of the oldest domestic violence bunch. It was the Shelter and
yes.
some some MU students started it because they had someone in their midst who'd been raped, as I recall. So they've been around a long time.
100%, man. You know your history well. That's exactly how their origin story, if you will. It's pretty fascinating, and it's just a great organization because it's not like you think you get somebody out, you put a roof over their head, and you're like, all right, you're out of that, but now I need you to leave because we got to get somebody else in. They want you to get out of the worst situation possible and then live your best life. That's the incredible part of doing these interviews with these survivors, is seeing the transformation just of them telling their story, of them reliving some of these horrible experiences they've had. But then the smile, you can hear the smile as the interview goes on, because they talk about True North and then how True North helped them with getting their GED or job placement or getting them in their own house, or court advocacy where they were trying to get an ex parte. That True North is there to hold their hand through the process and wanting them to live the best life they can afterwards.
It's really a longer term relationship than I think a lot of
100%.
people realize. And I know one of their signature events they just had was Little Black Dress. They raised a lot of money, and I've attended the last several years, and it was heart-wrenching. And this year they've had older women and younger women, and it was actually a student that the experience happened, and she shared her story. And so can you talk a little bit about when you hear those survivor stories about the radiothon? I mean, I think it's not something that people love to talk about, and it's hard sometimes to hear about, but I think also it puts people at ease to be able to share their own stories.
Yeah, 100%. And you get all age groups, all races. Like, this doesn't, we're terrible as a species. Just I don't understand how we can be so awful to one another. But we had one survivor come in, and she's in her 60s and was very proud of saying that she was in her 60s, and she had been with this guy for like almost 40 years, and was like, I finally got to the point, I was like, I don't know how many years I'm going to be on this planet, and I don't want to do this anymore. So it doesn't matter if you're 18 or 60 or 70, like, it can still happen. And that's what True North is there to help you either way. I mean, it's an incredible organization. It's really close to my heart, and I just hope we can raise a bunch of money for them today.
All right. So you and our other friends at Y107
Yes.
are both engaged in this radiothon today. So again, tell folks how they can find more info,
100%.
how they can donate.
And that's exciting too. This is our third year, and we added another station. I'm very proud of it. This is probably the proudest moment I've had in my radio career, creating this radiothon. And yes.
And I think that's why so many people get into radio. And it's not something we talk about, but it does, to serve the community and to see that need, to know that it's someone, to have your neighbor tell you it was someone that lived in your home, affected, your neighborhood, and then to be able to give directly back to the community. And that's the True North money stays right here locally.
Oh, yes, it does. And it's such a small, we're just a small community, because I didn't know how many people actually knew Beej Robinson, the woman that was killed, the previous owner of my house. She was the office manager for Brian Ware and Brian Ware Plumbing, and we become really good friends, and I do a lot with him and his business, and yeah, I'm just so proud of this event. And Y107 is on, so we've added another station. I'm really excited about that. And you can call 573-815-7516 right now to make a donation, or get all the details, and you can donate online at kcmq.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking some time. Thanks for joining the Wake Up fam for a little bit this morning.
I appreciate you guys having me. That means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, coming up next, we are going to do the Morning Bell, talk a little bit of business news.
If I can play the right intro this time.
A little bit of, I'm sleep deprived too this morning.
I'll use that.
Okay.
It's a hard job, Hannah.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. So yesterday, we're getting a lot of mixes in the market as of late. Yesterday, the Dow closed up, NASDAQ and S&P down. But when we're looking at the sectors, I mean, I've seen some funny memes recently, and they're really saying, NVIDIA is holding up the entire market, that and Taylor Swift, essentially. But there are typically one or a handful of stocks that are really driving these market gains or losses for the day. And so we are seeing technology yesterday was down big, energy up big. And so that's why I think because there are, single stocks or a handful of stocks driving these indexes, that's why we're seeing so much mixture in the markets. And as we look this morning, the futures appear to be celebrating Red Friday with us, I believe. NASDAQ just bumped slightly to the green, but yeah, everything's basically right on even today. So maybe we will hold steady. Now, there was an article about vacations, and what was yesterday? The official first day of summer?
And the longest day of the year.
It's felt like summer for a while, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been in the 90s for a hot minute.
Yeah, it's gonna.
No pun intended.
Well, and for my friend, I did see yesterday, I think was the first Thursday Night Live there in Jefferson City, John, and I saw a huge crowd. So that's always a super fun way to celebrate the summer.
And it was fantastic. The band was amazing. I can attest.
Oh, good.
I could hear them from my home, even if I hadn't participated.
Lucky you.
After a fundraiser last night, we did go hang out and listen to the music for a minute.
Good. Well, that is a super fun way to celebrate summer. Of course, a lot of families are celebrating not only with the movie theater, like Hannah watching Inside Out, but they're celebrating with big vacations. And CNN is talking about how Disney vacations are putting 45% of parents in debt, according to a recent survey.
Wow. Doesn't take much if you've been to Disney lately.
As someone who recent as February, took 2 kids to Disney, I couldn't relate more.
This one's for you, Casey.
We're going to financially recover from this.
That's
Joe Exotic
saying, I'm never going to financially recover for this. How many parents are repeating that line as they are walking through Disney?
I know I said it myself a myriad of times.
Yeah, I went, I think 2 years ago now, and I looked at my husband and I said, I hope to never come back here again.
Aww, the happiest place on earth.
Is it? It's not, though. It's not, because
as long as you've got a fat debit card.
Yeah, well, and I feel like also you put so much pressure on yourself because you're like, I spent so much money to be here. Everyone must have fun. And then you're like, you must be having fun at all times. And parts of it are not very fun. Like waiting in line is not very fun. When it's really hot, it's not very fun.
We had a really bad second day. It poured rain all day long. It was February. It dropped down to about 51 degrees. And I mean, we're just soaked head to toe. Like there's no avoiding it. And yeah, that perfect example of I'm just going through my head thinking how much money I've spent on this trip. And like, we're all standing here miserable right now.
Screaming at each other.
Yeah.
I know. Well, my parents took me when I think I was 5, and they just ended up giving up. And so they had bought like the 5-day pass or whatever. And apparently it was so hot, and my sister and I were complaining so much that they were like, actually, we're not doing this anymore. And then they just took us to the beach. And the funny thing about that is, it was a big expense back then. And, my parents had worked hard, and they were like, what are we going to do? Because they had the 5 days. And Disney says that the passes back then are good for a lifetime. And my mom had mentioned to me, I still have those tickets from 1988, I think it was. And sure enough, when we decided to go to Disney, I said, hey, Mom, you still got those passes? And she said, yes. They were paper tickets with like a picture of Mickey Mouse on the top. And then they had actually, John, you'll remember this, like the date stamp that used to stamp on pieces of mail. I actually have one of these in my office, but like the library stamp kind of thing in front of the library. That's what they said, like that's what they put on the ticket for the day that you went. So they were stamped with the 2 or 3 dates that we actually went in. And I took those little paper, that's thousands of dollars worth of money.
Oh, totally.
I took those back into the little Disney office and they said, yeah, and they redeemed them and they said they were good forever.
Wow.
And I actually,
cool.
I actually first looked on eBay for like the crazy Disney people if I could sell those, like 30-year-old Disney tickets on eBay for more than but actually it was a better deal for me to actually go to Disney with
To
them.
use it at the park.
Yeah, it was, but that's insane, right? But that's how valuable these things are, and it's saying.
I remember going to Disney World as a kid when they actually had the Series A, B, Series E tickets, and that's where the phrase an e-ticket ride comes from.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying parents are going in, the average family goes into debt, not spends, into debt $2,000 from a Disney vacation. So
easily.
I think the total, I think people told me if you're planning to go to Disney, plan to spend $10,000, which is insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I had points for like our lodging.
Yeah.
And I think it's still, I was out 7,500 to 8,000 when we were said and done.
Now, 10 grand, that's a lot of sets of mouse ears.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
We slept in a shoebox. 3-874-9390. We've got Don weighing in. He said, winner for the week. We randomly see a retired lady walking through Binder Park picking up trash. She's got a wonderful personality and says she just wants to do her part to improve the park. So shout out to a Binder Park lady. She is a winner of the week, according to Don. Also, Roger, I almost forgot about this one, but Roger is on it. Loser of the week, Senator Chuck Schumer, who has lived his entire life in a New York City apartment and has no idea how the rest of us deplorables live, and apparently has never used a grill or cooked a cheeseburger in his life, and decided to put a slice of cheese on a very raw hamburger patty and got totally roasted.
He just likes them rare, you know?
Ew. I mean,
I think he needs an education from Scott Steele with Steele's Fine Custom Meats.
There you go.
He needs some lessons for sure. So thanks, Roger, for checking in. Hannah, who's on your winners and losers list today?
I don't know about anybody else, but I've really been enjoying kind of keeping up with the Olympic trials that have been going on. Lots of drama about who makes the teams and who doesn't. And also seeing some athletes that many thought were retired and done returning for the trials. One of those being Katie Ledecky. And if you don't know who she is, shame on you. She's essentially the Michael Phelps of women's swimming. She won a race, and the video of it has 5 million views on Team USA's TikTok. She won the 1,500-meter freestyle race by 20 seconds.
Wow.
So the difference between first place and second place was 20 seconds. And then there was probably a good 10 seconds or so between second and third and, everyone else. So just total domination from an athlete who many would consider past her prime, I guess. And she's kind of showing up and giving everyone who said that the middle finger.
She's got like 10 Olympic medals, and most of them are gold. I mean, she's a phenom.
Behind, I know we talked about Casey's love for 4th of July, but like behind 4th of July, I'm like I love watching the Olympics. I love wearing red, white, and blue. And once it's on, I get totally consumed with the stories.
I'm here for the Olympics. I am excited for all of the festivities to come.
Well, and also, I know we're doing winners and losers of the week, but Leah Thomas was not allowed to compete on the women's side of things in the Olympic trials. So I'm going to call that a win for women's sports for the Olympics, but that was pretty big that happened in the last week or so, too. I have another winner of the week. We've been talking about State Representative Ben Baker and his family, who tragically lost his daughter and son-in-law in Haiti. They were murdered by gangs over there. They were doing missionary work in Haiti. And he had a really nice post on Twitter this week. Himself and his son-in-law's dad actually went back to Haiti on a little bit of a missionary trip, a quick one. And he just talks about how important it was for him to go do that. And he said he learned a little bit more about what had happened with Natalie and Davy, but also just the experience of being back there and being at the place where his daughter, sacrificed her and her husband's lives essentially for the missionary work that they were doing. So I thought that was pretty powerful.
Boy, he's braver than I am.
Right?
Yeah, brave, certainly. Well, those are good winners and losers. Did you see any other losers? Got any big losers?
Cori Bush.
Oh, there you go.
She could almost be on the list every week, but we had the soundbite earlier of her claiming that she put hands on a woman that had tumors in her chest and she could feel the tumors dissolve, and she magically cured this woman. And the internet's going, yeah, no, that didn't happen.
Look out, Jesus. We've got Cori Bush.
Who's apparently also a registered nurse, but / witch doctor.
LPN or something, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right, Casey, who you got for winners and losers?
For my winner of the week, I am going to say Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe. He has been on a statewide bus tour all over the state. And we've talked a lot about campaign money today. The contributions that are rolling in for him that have to be reported because they're over a certain dollar amount just keep coming.
And if you haven't seen the bus, it's like all over Facebook and Twitter, but like he's letting people sign it with a Sharpie, and I have such bad FOMO.
Yeah, the FOMO
that I
is
haven't
real.
I haven't been able to sign the bus yet. And so I'm going to be like the stalker that's like chasing, like running after the bus, be like, wait, I want to sign the bus. It's like covered.
It is. I saw it in person at the Cattleman's Steak Fry in Sedalia.
Did you get to sign it?
I did not get a chance to sign it.
Casey.
I know. I failed.
I'm
But
thinking I might see it at a 4th of July parade, maybe.
I bet you will.
Okay.
And then my popular culture loser of the week is Justin Timberlake for his DWI arrest.
For obvious reasons, right?
For obvious
That was
reasons.
a little bit rough. All right, John, who do you have?
Well, I've got 2 winners. One started out as a loser, but I tried to be a nice guy like Brian and spin it to a winner.
Okay.
Nice.
It was the whole deal with the work on the Missouri River Bridge and the approaches and closing down one lane in each direction on 54 there. Well, it turns out the Jefferson City Council was kind of the winner because they brought it all up at their Monday night meeting and talked about potential tying up access to the lake and miles-long backups. And they said they were going to urge MoDOT to delay the project until September. So we'll see what happens with that. One more winner, a Jefferson City teen is Miss Missouri Teen USA for 2024. Shelby Welling earned the title at the competition in Overland Park, Kansas, and she heads on to the Miss Teen USA pageant in Los Angeles in August. Her parents are George and Stacy Welling. Folks know George used to work on 94.3 Cat Country right down the hall from us back in the day. So congrats to Shelby Welling.
That is really exciting for one mid-Missouri teen. I'm also going to shout out the Big Boss Man. And no, I'm not sucking up.
Oh, yeah. Brown noser.
Oh, I am a little bit, but I saw John Zimmer post yesterday
Yes.
that he accepted the NAB Leadership Foundation's Service to America Award from Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer on behalf of Zimmer Radio's public service in mid-Missouri. And so I guess all the radio stations come together to compete. We get to, Zimmer oftentimes will put kind of explain what we've done in the community over the year. And it's not the first time that Zimmer has received some type of community service award, which certainly we wouldn't be able to do without the Wake Up Fam. When we do, you heard from Shags earlier, they're doing a radiothon for True North. And when we do these things, they're only successful because all of you show up and you are very generous. And when we do things like for the Honor Flight and for Children's Miracle Network, it's the entire, Zimmer sometimes accepts awards for facilitating
1 for 1 holiday food drive.
Oh
at
yeah,
Christmas
that's coming
time.
up too. So but it's a team effort and a family effort, and certainly, but it's nice, I think, to be recognized. And
Yeah, and this is a national award. The NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, of course, a very big deal in our industry. So congratulations to the Zimmer family. And is it wrong to say congratulations to us?
We can congratulate ourselves, I think. Well, and congratulations to us on this first ever big time, since I've been around, big time Wake Up Family event that's coming up next Thursday. We're just 1 week out. You do need to register, so get on the website. But I know, Casey, are you a big Debate Watch person? Or are you too close to the action?
Yeah. I will be with you guys Thursday. Usually I get I'm too close to the action, but there are exceptions, and this will be one. So, and I can say congratulations to you guys on all of your successes.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well,
I have one more winner of the week.
Okay.
It's actually Stephanie Bell. For getting the one and only Scott Fawn to say this.
Stephanie, you were right. I was wrong. You were smart. I'm stupid.
I will.
The sign of knowledge ain't so deep. That's all I'm saying.
Every time I sit in the big chair, Hannah, I want you to just play that over and over. Just remind people.
Stephanie, you were right. I was wrong.
I'm gonna get that on my phone, and next time I see Scott in person, I'm just gonna play that for everyone around. You also forgot this other loser, Hannah. We just realized. You told me about this morning. George Santos is back. I thought we were done with that guy.
He was the guy who got canceled a little bit for being a big old liar.
A little bit?
Yeah.
And now he's on OnlyFans.
Yeah, so he made the announcement this week that he's going to be on OnlyFans, and they call him an embattled former representative. In
Didn't-
this
Well, all
article
the
from The
allegations
Hill.
about him and the drag shows and all that stuff now, too.
Well, and when he had all that campaign finance stuff, wasn't he spending beyond like spending money at Sephora? Wasn't he spending some of the money on OnlyFans subscriptions? Wasn't that one of the
I think
allegations?
so. He's one of only 6 lawmakers to be expelled from the House ever. So go George Santos. But yeah, he announced that he was going to be, going onto OnlyFans. He's charging $30 a month.
$30,
and that's the 10% off deal. Okay. And he's trying to build a platform on OnlyFans
to support his OnlyFans habit.
Well, and maybe to support, he's fighting a federal indictment of 23 counts of wire fraud, identity theft, and other campaign charges.
He's got to have some income now,
Yeah. So I don't know. I will say, I know when we say OnlyFans, we immediately think of, like sexually explicit content, but there are some people who are using it for different reasons.
Well, and it was when it was founded initially, it wasn't founded for that purpose. And I've heard interviews by the folks who started it, and they were really saying it's going to be for for musicians and other people to try to make money,
like get exclusive content.
Yeah, and ways for them to make money, even if they're not don't have big brand management or whatever. And then essentially the adult industry kind of was like, this is a really good idea for us. And it just kind of took off, and they didn't.
So
but that's
there
not
is
how
a niche there for embattled councilmen and congressmen in drag, is what you're saying. Right?
I think so. And I think they found out how lucrative that industry can be. And then I think with COVID, they said that was how, that only exacerbated kind of this change in industries on the platform. So
we're getting a couple more nominations on the texter 874-9390. Dan is saying we should nominate Shags, and I agree, this one and only time, for his work that he's done with getting the True North Radiothon up and running. They, True North is an organization that supports victims of domestic violence in Columbia and surrounding areas. So really cool what he's done with that radiothon. We have information on how to donate to that posted on the Wake Up Mid-Missouri Facebook page if you want to go check that out. Dakota wants to nominate his little sister, Melissa. She handed down her Howard County Fair Queen crown, maybe, to her baby sister, Gracie. And so that's cool to keep it in the family,
I love it's the season of county fairs. I love a good county fair. Jackie's also saying Curtis Gregory is a winner. He, of course, is running for Senate in a primary, but he is having an event in Mid-Mo, I think in Columbia here coming up. And the special guest is none other than Gary Pinkel. Curtis Gregory, I met him a few years ago back when we were emceeing the Mizzou homecoming parade, and he was kind of the special guest because, of course, he is a former Mizzou player.
When I hear the name Curtis Gregory, I will forever associate it with the photo that was posted on Twitter of him and his wife trying to get a 4x8 Lincoln Huff yard sign home, and they had
to put it inside the SUV.
Yeah, essentially their heads and the headrests on their seats were holding it up inside the car. So
it was like the ceiling to the car, the entire ceiling covered in a 4x8. That is some dedication. And man, those signs are popping up everywhere. I'm seeing a lot of them. So we've got a lot of campaign friends who have been hard at work. All right. come down yesterday. Now, whether or not we see those today, certainly we'll have our eye on that. And you've got Gary coming up next, so he'll be watching. And certainly we will talk about it on Monday. We've got several important, whether we get into, the scope of administrative agencies and administrative power and presidential immunity. There's a lot still at stake. Of course, you've got the big Missouri case and for some First Amendment stuff as well. So we will be watching that as well. The Attorney General filed suit yesterday, he didn't file suit yesterday. He announced he was going to file suit, against the state of New York in what's been going on with President Trump. We will learn more about that lawsuit once it's filed, hopefully, and keep you updated on that as well. But we do know, Hannah, that tweet when the Attorney General said, I'm going to be the guy to file Missouri v. New York, it was totally viral.
Oh, yeah. When I looked this morning around 6, it had already been viewed almost 2 million times. I'm sure it's gone up since then, but mega viral for sure. Fox News has picked up on it. It's going to be a big deal, I think.
All right, John, what's in your leftovers?
Well, I think a neat story out of the world of sports. Little Tiger, Charlie Woods, Tiger Woods' kid, has earned his way into his first USGA golf championship. 15-year-old son of Tiger had the leading score among qualifiers for the U.S. Junior Amateur, and that's next month at the big Oakland Hills course.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, he's quite the golfer.
Well, how could you not be, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
no
I mean, you got all the genes. I mean,
his
the coaching.
Yeah, his skills are up to par for sure.
There you go.
All right.
Bad dad jokes.
Hannah
just chipping in the jokes.
Casey, what do you got for leftovers? Anything?
It's outside of our listening area a little bit, but it's kind of made big news this week. GOP state Senate candidate David Martin was accused of assault in Jackson County GOP office, allegedly punched a woman over a fight over the toilets overflowing.
What an analogy.
Ouch.
Yes, all the way around. So apparently that got pretty heated.
Wasn't there allegations that he had a hostage?
One of the police reports say that there was a concern that he had taken a hostage. This gentleman was not the front runner in his primary campaign to begin with, but I would guess that race is pretty well over.
Down the toilet.
Oh my goodness. Well, and we've seen some allegations of assault right here in mid-Missouri, of course, on the Democrat side. And I think more people need to just get with us and celebrate a Feel Good Friday and take a deep breath. Like, politics matter, but you should be able to disagree.
Cool your jets, man.
Yeah. Chill out.
That's right. Play some music, have a 30-second dance party, and